You mentioned a few minutes ago, I wanted to pick up on it, like legal vehicles. You might have a last will and testament, but do you have a power of attorney? Do you have a healthcare proxy? Have you thought about protection? Those things are really important for any elder care plan, any really good elder care plan. You really have to have these vehicles in place when you're caring for an elderly person. So, Ariel, can you teach us a little bit about why these things are important and people should pay attention to them?
So I think absolutely. So I think if someone were to say, what is the first thing that I should do in terms of my estate planning, whether you're 30 years old, 80 years old, 100 years old, whatever, would be making sure that you have proper advance directives, the healthcare proxy, power of attorney. Now, there are people think, oh, there's a few misconceptions. One misconception is, oh, that's my wife, that's my husband. In sickness and in health, of course I can make decisions. If they're sick, they're my spouse. I've been married to them for 70 years. Of course the doctor's going to listen to me. Of course the financial institution's going to listen to me. And the answer is no. We don't know. And I've seen lots of different matrimonial dynamics where sometimes one spouse doesn't want the other spouse making decisions. So it's not a given. And you need to have very particular authority to make those decisions. And a lot of people get their power of attorney, if they have one, from the real estate attorney that closed on their house, or from a jack of all trades type of attorney who does a little bit of a trust and estates and a little bit of real estate and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And what happens is that you have a power of attorney, but that power of attorney is only as good as the authority vested in it. So if that power of attorney does not give specific authority for elder care related issues, and there's lots of different types of issues that we consider when drafting these documents, well, then you can't do that. There are many instances where we end up with an incapacitated person where the family had a power of attorney, but they need to go to guardianship court anyway because it wasn't good enough. It wasn't expansive enough. And then you end up getting everybody involved in a court experience that no one wants to experience. First of all, it creates family drama. Secondly, you're bringing a incapacitated or potentially incapacitated person in front of a judge, and you don't know what they really understand and what they don't understand. And sitting in front of a judge where everyone's talking about how smart you are is not an enjoyable experience. So these are really things that people have to think about ahead of time. And it's the first thing people are like, oh no, I need a will. You do, but this is more important.
Yeah.
Because it's while you're living. That's the most important piece, that you're taking care of the way you want to be taken care of.
Yeah. So, I have these clients right now who I'm trying to refer to you actually, Ariel, and they are really concerned about their about the reaction of one of their parents. They're afraid really that that reaction is going to be strong and overwhelming, and they're going to feel like bad kids because the parent thinks that these vehicles, particularly the power of attorney, is going to be represent him giving up his rights and his autonomy and his authority in his own life. And the kids are very tentative in really explaining to him that the power of attorney really is a conversation with you and your lawyer and talking through your wishes and then appointing one or two people who are going to uphold your wishes if that should ever become necessary. So coaching them through that conversation has been challenging because of all of the kind of emotional stuff that are between the kids and the parents in this family. So while it seems, I think, logical for every family, every elderly person to have this, there's also this family stuff I think that can get in the way.
And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
oh, please go ahead.
that is sort of the paradox here is that you touched on that people are afraid that they're ceding power or control,
Control.
but they're actually ensuring power and control.
That's right. That's a good way
Absolutely.
to say it. Really good way to say it. Yeah.
And
Um,
ultimately, that goes back to your emergency conversation, Paul, and everyone else that has kind of contributed to that. And what we're really talking about is maintaining somebody that wants to maintain control and independence and bringing in resources that enable them to do that in the way they want it done.
And I think there's also the piece of letting them know, firstly, you can always revoke this, making it clear to the older person that they are the client. We send the kids out of the room when we have this conversation, at least certainly for the signing, typically for most of the conversation, if not all of it, letting them know that this is their decision. And it's also to let them know that, this is for when you need help. Obviously, it can be a durable power of attorney where someone can help you even where you don't technically need it. But you can always revoke it as long as you have the capacity. And if you don't have the capacity, your choice is having a loved one help you with the explicit authority that you indicate in the document, and not more and not less, and making sure that it's them and not a judge, which is not only not what you want. I would imagine you never met that judge. You don't know them. They're not a good friend of yours, and they're not your child or your spouse. But the judge is also a very expensive process. And do you want your kids to be able to go to the bank and pay your bills and take care of your care? Or do you want them to need authorization every single time they need to do anything? And that's your choice, because most people at some point need help. And it's a difficult thing to face, but it's important.
But we face it. It's funny because I think we do face it, not to trivialize it with analogies. We face it throughout our lives. And I said, three of us have eyeglasses on. Okay. And
I have glasses in my car.
Ariel's
what was that decision
okay.
like, though? Like, how many of us put them on the moment we needed them? Now, I'll just squint. I'll hold the book closer. I'll get some readers. I'll do whatever because I don't need that. That's a weakness. It's something. There's a flaw in me.
Yeah.
But the moment I put them on, my life improved. I read more again. I had that enjoyment. I knew what to order in the restaurant, didn't just fake it, that kind of stuff. And I think that whether it be that or hearing aids, walkers, bigger things like legal documents to put these things in place, we need tools to get us through life. And if you don't adopt those tools and use those tools, then you do it at your own peril.
And you're also, Ariel, you said something that really hit home, and that is a loved one, a family member, somebody that you're familiar with, typically, there are these other situations, but typically a loved one is going to help you. And by putting the appropriate documents in place, you're choosing to make that easier for them rather than more difficult. We had a situation not that long ago where we were helping a wife of a couple. The husband was the power of attorney. He had all the right documents in place. But unexpectedly, his health turned. And instead of putting appropriate documentation in place for another person in the family to help, he passed away. And suddenly the family needed to help the grandmother, and they didn't have access to do it. Now, we were with them, but it took this family person, I'd say 6 months to go through guardianship just to gain access to the bank accounts and the funds that were there. And her life was miserable doing it. Now, if the appropriate documents had been in place, that would have never have taken place. So you choose to either make it easier for your family or more challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good example, and it happens far too often, unfortunately. And it doesn't have to happen. So I think part of our mission is to educate people, as many people as we can, to help them avoid these really complicated, risky, difficult situations with some forethinking and some planning. Nobody wants to plan in this space, but it's really important that you do. And that's a really good example. That's a really good example, Jay. You're like an uncle, like wise and voice is soothing. I'm going to start calling you Uncle Jay.
I think it's the beard. Pass me my pipe.